The biggest crossover in comic books today continues with DC Marvel Batman Deadpool #1. So let's talk about that in this video. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. Very excited to get into this video. We're going to do a few things and we're going to deep dive this crossover event. I have been waiting for months now to really talk about this since this was announced. The creators were announced, since this story. Everything that is happening right now in DC Comics is very, very exciting. And now this partnership with Marvel continues after the success of the Deadpool Batman #1 that came out a few months ago. So let's talk about Batman Deadpool #1. Uh, in this video, we're going to get a non spoiler review of everything. Then we'll deep dive into all the stories, and then we'll revisit my past self along with my co-host Jeff, where we'll talk about all the preview covers for this upcoming book. So make sure to stay tuned for all that. You can use the time codes in the description of the video. So this book is composed of a few stories, but the main one is when Batman, the Dark Knight, and the Merc with the Mouth, Deadpool team up for an adventure so mind-bending that it will leave you thinking that you're in a dream. This is brought to us by legendary creators Grant Morrison and Dan Mora, and also there's a few extra stories that we will get all into it. This is very exciting. I don't know if you guys know exactly how this came to be, but of course, the return of a crossover like this had not been done in a long, long time. But because of the success of the reprint of the Justice League Avengers crossover, I think Marvel and DC realized, oh, wait a minute, people like this, we can make money, so let's do it again. You also get a few more stories. John Constantine, the Hellblazer, and Doctor Strange team up, written by James Tynion, Joshua Williamson, Scott Snyder, with art by Hayden Sherman. We also have Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo reuniting to bring Nightwing and Laura Kinney, the Wolverine, together in a story. Harley and the Hulk in a story written by Mariko Tamaki with art by Amanda Connor. And then we have a one more team up for Static and Miss Marvel, written by G. Willow Wilson and Dennis Cohen. So very, very exciting stuff. All right. So overall, before we get into any big spoilers, this crossover is great. It delivers on a lot of really cool things. First of all, I think the pairings are really, really interesting, especially for the stories in the back. You get funny stories, you get stories that are heartfelt, you get stories that are full of adventure, full of really weird shenanigans, specifically the one that is magic related. So you don't want to miss out on any of these. I really enjoyed it, but I think what is truly an achievement is how different of an approach Grant Morrison and Dan Mora took for their story with Batman and Deadpool. It ties into so much, and Grant Morrison is a creator that loves to bring in a lot of continuity, a lot of these really big, massive ideas, and seeing Dan Mora bring all those things to life. As I go through, when I get to the spoiler part, you'll see a little bit of the preview pages for each of the stories that I was able to get from DC Comics, and man, oh man, you're gonna be out. Like, it's just amazing to see the surprises, the villains, the twists and turns, and also I think that I don't know that I had ever read a Grant Morrison Deadpool book. So Grant Morrison is a writer who has already broken the fourth wall, right? They showed up in their own Animal Man run, which was insane. But having to write a character now that also breaks the fourth wall as Deadpool kind of really adds another layer on top of all that. And then, of course, Grant Morrison had such a great run on Batman. They know the character, they know what makes Batman tick, but also they know how to approach Batman so that it is a very interesting to mirror whoever he's kind of teaming up with. In this case, Deadpool. There's so many big ideas here. Their stories broken up into three different chapters, I believe, 3 or 4 different chapters, and you have surprises at every turn. Dan Mora continues to be just one of the best of the best. But there's one page specifically. Oh my god, I almost popped out of my seat. So I read this stuff on my iPad because that's the way DC sends our review copies. And I almost almost dropped it because I was so excited about what was going on in the page. So yeah, this is really really cool stuff. So okay, uh, remember, use the time codes to skip ahead if you want to check out the covers. But let's talk about these stories individually. So the first story, as I mentioned, is the big one by Grant Morrison and Dan Mora. It's called "The Cosmic Kiss Caper," in which we meet these entities from these two singularities, these two entities that don't often collide. They are usually separated, but in this case, they have a little smooch, and that is kind of what brings the Marvel and the DC universe together. We see Batman go on this adventure to hunt down a killer. We also see how he meets up with Deadpool, and then they are both being chased down, having to get this little, just a widget, a whatchamacallit, anything that a villain would want to get is just really to drive the story forward, which is made very clear by all the clues and all the. It's very meta in that way, where we know that this little weapon that the villain is after may just be something that is for a comic book story. Even Deadpool comments on that. Um, we get to see so many Easter eggs. I love that Grant Morrison's been keeping up with what's been going on with Batman because they drop a lot of Easter eggs. We see the Court of Owls. But then what really made me very excited, on top of all the action that Dan Moore captures truly in an impeccable manner, we get a little shout out to Amalgam, the original crossover, right? Which we have news that there's going to be a Superman Spider-Man crossover to celebrate their initial crossover back in the day, but we'll talk about that in a later video. But we get a little Easter egg of that as well. They go through all these little things, showing you all these little Easter eggs. We also get to see a really cool homage and brought back to Darkclaw, which was the combination of Wolverine and Batman from the original Amalgam event. But then, as the villain is finally revealed, we see that it is Cassandra Nova, a character that Grant Morrison created over at Marvel. So they brought Cassandra over to be the big villain of the story. Cassandra is after this weapon that will allow her to control all these universes now that this has happened. Batman dies. He goes into the Lazarus pit, comes back as Darkclaw. Uh, it's bananas. It's bonkers. But then ultimately, it is revealed that what Cassandra's after is the cosmic keyboard that is rumored to rewrite reality. And who is wielding the keyboard? None other than the writer themselves. In this case, Grant Morrison. So Grant Morrison has once again put themselves in the comic book story, and we get the origin and the first appearance of Deadbat, which is a combination of Batman and Deadpool, and they are able to take down Cassandra Cain with a little bit of help from Robin, Damian Wayne, which is another character that Grant Morrison themselves created. So it's incredible. Grant Morrison doing homages to other people, to themselves, to their own run, picking up little Easter eggs from everything. It's great, great stuff. And then after that, we see that these two entities have to finally go their separate ways. But the story does have a happy ending, so make sure to go check it out. If you're this far into it, I hope that you enjoyed it. So, all right, on the next story, we have John Constantine, the Hellblazer, teaming up with Doctor Strange. John is stuck in the Marvel universe. He has gone looking for Doctor Strange, and at first, of course, they don't trust each other. I think it's really interesting that we have three different writers because not only is Doctor Strange, he knows that something's off with the universe. We get to see some really cool things like Swamp Thing fighting the Ghost Rider. We get to see other entities of like would we be the Justice League Dark or the mystical universe on both sides. Of course, Stephen Strange does not trust John Constantine with good reason because he knows that he's out to steal the Eye of Agamotto. But ultimately, they realize that they have a lot more in common than they think, and maybe they tease that they could team up again. So I would love to see that. All right. The next story is Sticks and Snicks. That is by Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo, Adriano Lucas, and Wes Abbott. This is the Nightwing, Laura Kinney Wolverine story. When Gabby goes missing in the city of Gotham, Wolverine tracks her down and needs a little bit of help. Even though she was looking for Batman, she will take, I guess, the next best thing, or maybe even a better thing, because she finds Nightwing and they are able to go searching for Gabby. After they find her in Killer Croc's lair, they figure out that Killer Croc did not kidnap Gabby, that they were all kind of working on this together. And then they kind of go hang out, which is really cool. So we get to see kind of a really nice team up, but not only that, we get to see how these characters are very similar, right? They are both kind of legacy characters carrying on mantles, but also trying to forge their own path. So, and of course, Tom Taylor had a long run over at Marvel writing Nightwing. I was writing Laura Kinney, and now he had a really long run writing Nightwing. So, who better to bring those characters together? Uh, the next story is Hulk and Harley's Amazing Saturday. This is by Mariko Tamaki and Amanda Connor. This is the funniest story that we have in here. It's They are just going to Coney Island, trying to get some hot dogs. When everything goes wrong, the hot dogs fall into the nuclear waste, and then of course they come to life and start attacking the Hulk and Harley, and they have to beat everyone. So, yeah, really fun story, very lighthearted, but Amanda Connor is the perfect artist to illustrate that. The last story, New Friends in Old Places, with G. Willow Wilson, with pencils by Dennis Cohen. This is the Miss Marvel static crossover adventure. We begin with Miss Marvel at her house, and then we also see Static Virgil at his own house, and they realize that there's a monster that is destroying the city, and they go and team up. But these two heroes also realize that they have a lot in common. They represent their own communities, and they are fighting way more than just villains. So it's a very cool thing to see these two kind of outsiders that never ask for their powers, right? They are kind of like, both of them are kind of bang babies. They both came out of this accident. They were never meant to have powers. Miss Marvel's origin is because the Terrigen cloud came through and gave and awoke all the Inhumans that were in the path. And then, of course, we know that Virgil got his powers from the Big Bang, which doesn't mean that they were looking for powers. They were not born with them, but now that is their responsibility. So I love how thematic all the stories kind of are. Whether you're a legacy hero or a Nepo hero, as Tom Taylor calls them, or whether you're somebody that never meant to have powers like Miss Marvel and Static, but now you have to carry that responsibility. Harley and the Hulk is just a fun team up because they're so opposite. Um, and then, of course, maybe kind of mistreated characters, both of them, right? By the Joker or by the Avengers or whoever you may think. So, yeah. And then, of course, Constantine and Doctor Strange. Just it makes all the sense in the world. They are kind of like opposite sides of the same magical coin. So yeah, very cool. I would love to see more of this Swamp Thing Ghost Rider adventure that was in the pages here. So yeah, and then Batman, Deadpool, two of the most popular characters for their own brand. So what an incredible, incredible book. All right. Now I'm gonna send you over to my past self with my co-host Jeff, where we talk all about all the covers that you can pick up for this book, and then we'll come back and close out the video.
I
So this is
I
the main
did see a
cover.
tiny little preview of the Tom Taylor Nightwing Wolverine, like just them talking like in a tunnel or whatever. But I'm excited. That's the one I'm excited for.
Yep. So this one does have less stories than the Marvel one. So the main story is longer, and then I think you only get like 3 different stories.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this very cool Clayman. There's 24 covers loaded in here. I don't know if that'll be all of them, but this is by Clayman, Batman and Wolverine. This is the wraparound cover by Dan Mora. So Batman's on the other side. I don't know why. For some reason, they can't upload the wraparounds properly. And you let me know if there's any that jump out at you, Jeff? That you're
Oh,
like,
I
yeah, I
shall.
probably picked that up. Libermejo here.
Oh, that's cool. This is
Ooh,
one of the ones that is made by list.
Mark
Love
Brooks
some Mark Brooks, Zatanna, Scarlet Witch. Love me some cheesecake
and Magic.
and magic.
Magical cheesecake. Uh, Jim Chung doing the cross. This was the crossover, I believe, back in the amalgam days.
Yeah. Also in the last issue of the thing.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, this is one of the stories you'll get. The whole. Well, I mean, not exactly. They're not eating hot dogs, but it is Amanda Connor doing a
This is a
Hulk in Harley story.
this is a fun cover. I would consider buying it.
Yeah, I believe that story is written by Mariko Tamaki, but it is drawn by Amanda Connor.
This is a
The Nick
great cover.
Dragotta. Ooh, I'm getting this one for sure. Nick Dragotta. Man, this book is $8.99. That's gonna hurt. Gonna hurt. I need to get to my shop early.
This is
Uh,
one of the covers I really want. The Jenny
yeah,
Frizen.
Jenny Frizen. I mean, we both bought the same Fantastic Four cover, so and you bought the Grimm cover by Frizen as well. So I know Jenny Frizen, top of the list. Andy Kubert with the giant playing card. I love this cover. So silly.
This one,
Mhm.
Jay Lee.
Jay
God, I love
Lee.
this cover.
It's really cool
Barda
and
and
a
Rogue.
really interesting team up too. I've never noticed Barda's shoes if they do look like Peter Pan's shoes.
Little elf shoes.
Yeah, or if that's just Jay Lee's take on it. Speaking of Jim Lee from Hush, drawing two of his favorite boys, I think.
Yep. This is a cool
Alexander
cover.
Lozano. Yeah. We have Sean Murphy. This one's pretty cool
Sean
too.
Murphy.
And I would love this crossover. I love that they have a picture here at the pool. Deadpool in the pool. Uh, this is a
This
Frank
is a
Quietly
fun.
cover. God, this is
I'd
so
like
good.
this cover.
God, Frank Quietly so good.
Yeah, this is a great cover. This
This
I
one's
like this
great.
cover a lot too. Bruno
Yeah, Bruno
Redondo,
Redondo. Hayden Sherman
Hayden
with his.
Sherman.
This is one of the stories you get inside. So sorry, you get a story for this as well. You get Nightwing and Wolverine, as Jeff mentioned earlier, and you also get Hayden Sherman drawing this story by Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, and James Tynion. 3 writers on this. I don't know if each one of them wrote a page. I don't know how that works out. This is not a very. These are not very long stories. The very cool Wilson Cabbage homage cover with homage. So it's the Wolverine claw like we saw in the Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Oh,
How
I
like
get it.
you see
I
that?
see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The
Oh,
Ryan
that's
Sook,
fun. Oh,
the
that's a good
Sister
one.
Micah. And if you're local to the Dallas area, you might, if you get this cover, I think Sister Micah does a lot of shows around here. So you might be able to get this sign. Dan Morris main. So these are probably what's going to be in the blind bags. I think they're doing blind bags for this as well because it's the virgin foil. A lot of these will be the virgin foil. Oh damn! I'm getting this blue. Are they
There's
doing a blue one
the
and a red one?
there's the Dallas Comic Show that comes out that is next weekend.
Oh yeah, I'll
Um,
probably be there. I wonder. We might not have a show next weekend on Saturday, so I can go to that early. Or if Jeff goes, maybe we'll just do a what is it, live show from over there.
a live show, a little stream, a little live stream.
Yeah, we'll sit in the mall and just record the video. This is by Dan Panosian.
Oh,
I
really? I didn't
believe
even
this
see
is
that one.
exclusive to Impulse Creations. Doesn't look like it's just a regular cover. And then this
So
is
Brian
for
Boland.
Sad Lemon Comics, Brian Boland. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, really good. And that's it. That's all they have for now. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed all the covers. I hope that you got enough. I hope that you now want to make sure to go chase those covers. But I'm going to throw it back to you now. Let me know, what did you think of this massive crossover between Marvel and DC? What was your favorite story? What did you think of all the callbacks, the fourth wall breaking, the team ups? Let me know all that stuff down in the comments. And of course, let me know which cover you picked up. I'm recording this prior to the book being out on the shelves, so I don't even know which covers I'm picking up yet. I might do a follow video where we just kind of go through all the stuff that I picked up, or stay tuned because we'll definitely talk about it on our Sunday comic book show. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Does Darkseid have a plan for what's going on underwater in the Kingdom of Atlantis? Let's talk about that in this video. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Aquaman number 11. This is a new book from DC Comics, a DCKO tie-in. Now, I'm not current on the series, but Aquaman has gone through a lot of changes, including becoming an agent of the blue, which means that he is now connected to the water in the same way that Swamp Thing is connected to the green and Animal Man is connected to the red, stuff like that. So this is written by Jeremy Adams with art by Nimit Malavia, Rex Locus on colors, letters by Dave Sharp. The main cover is by Gleb Melnikov, which you can see right now. And I'll go through the rest of the covers a little bit later. This is a book that came out on the week of 11/12. I didn't get a chance to review it right away, but I did want to make sure to check it out because we are talking about every single DCKO tie-in. So in this issue, Mera and the mystery of Atlantis unravels even as Andy moves towards her ultimate goal and Arthur contends with the power of the blue. But is this power too much even for a king to contend with? An oceanic onslaught unloads on the king of the seven seas, and the connection between the dark tide and Darkseid is at last revealed. That's right. Darkseid has his own machinations in this everything that's going on during the events of DCKO, but we see Arthur, the king of Atlantis, now with these new powers, trying to figure out where to do the most good. Now, obviously, a lot of the other heroes are busy with the events of DCKO. Make sure to go check those out and check out our videos about those specific issues, including the big event. But yeah, parademons are running amok and they are just targeting humans all over the world. So Aquaman and his team are trying to figure out how to best help those people. We are introduced to a few new characters, including Titanus, who's like a big old hammerhead shark. I gotta say, I am not very familiar with this artist, Nimit Malavia, but they are doing some really exceptional work. I think somewhere where I feel like Jeremy Adams's stories thrive is in the action and the dynamism of things and the way that they're translated, that the way that those images are translated from the script. They really work, right? You see a lot of movement, you see a lot of really cool, very dynamic shots, very angular. There's a few things, and you'll see some of the preview pages, the preview images, as we kind of go through this. Now, there's also a different mystery. Mira is also digging on her own. Things have changed, and now she's found her own thing that she must face in this issue. So not only do we have to worry about Darkseid and his machinations underwater and all these parademon attacks, but also what is Mira going to discover as she moves on? And also, how will this affect the events of DCKO going forward? Can the people, oh, I guess, can the people of Atlantis and the underwater, as well as everybody that's still on Earth, will they be able to survive this? Will Aquaman be able to help them? Can he even control all this power? It's a very interesting story. We're going to keep an eye on it for sure. I think I like Jeremy Adams a lot. I think he's a fantastic writer, especially when it comes to this type of story that it's big and bombastic. So yeah, highly recommend. If you're somebody that's digging into all the DCKO tie-ins, You definitely want to check this one out. Okay, let's go take a look at some of the variant covers. We'll close out this video. So as I mentioned, this is the main cover by Gleb Melnikov. I immediately recognize Melnikov's work. Very interesting, very unusual style. A lot of his characters, I don't know, they have this texture to them. They have this like, especially when it comes to their musculature. So it's really cool to see. I as soon as I saw the cover, I was like, oh. Next, we have this cover by John Boy, very Matt Myers. This is the B cover for this issue. We also have an cover C by Edwin Gallman. This one focuses more on Mira. And then we have the Osgur Yildirim variant. Apologies if I mispronounced that, but I kind of like this really chilled out Aquaman in the water. And we're back to the main cover. So, yeah, highly recommend this. Check it out if you're checking out all the stuff from DCKO. I think this is great. It is not required reading, I would say, as far as like you like this has a great effect on everything else that's going on. But it's definitely fun to see what's happening all over the place, and especially because I was not caught up on Aquaman. It's interesting to kind of see this new status quo after all the powers kind of changed and shifted, and the dynamics have changed a little bit. Always good to check in on Atlantis and the underwater stuff. So, if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe. Stay tuned. We have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Humans have always felt the need to explore new worlds, but sometimes they could get lost in the Twilight Zone. Let's talk about that in this video. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Twilight Zone #2. This continues IDW's under their IDW Dark Initiative, the anthology series about, of course, one of the most recognizable brands in, I would say, horror comics, or at least horror stories, The Twilight Zone. In this issue, we have a world of your wildest dreams written, drawn, and lettered by superstar creator Tom Scioli. Yeah, really cool. We have some covers that you can take a look at a little bit later. But yeah, Tom Scioli. I've been waiting for this issue. I think Tom Scioli has done some really incredible stuff. If you're not familiar with his work, you can check out Transformers vs. G.I. Joe, the Godzilla Monster Piece Theater most recently, and then of course Fantastic Four Grand Design, a lot of stuff like that. So yeah, Tom Scioli, world class comic creator. In this issue, at the farthest reaches of the galaxy, beyond the horizon of humanity and the hopes of salvation, a spaceship of slumbering astronauts journeys in search of intelligent alien life. They've left behind their families, their planet, their past, and all the trauma and comforts those things contain. But our crew of adventurers will find their past are never that far behind. An intelligent alien life has its own plan for their future in the Twilight Zone. Yeah, this is so cool. This issue was so much fun. I will say, normally there's a lot of reading to do in this issue, and normally that's something that kind of puts me off a little bit, just because I want to allow the art to do a lot of the storytelling. But Tom Scioli's story is so complex and all encompassing that it just really feels very good. It also helps a lot with the pacing of the book, so that you're not just rushing through everything. There's some very small panels. You'll see some of the art preview as the video kind of goes on. Scioli has a very distinct style, which is very much of a throwback to a classic era in comics. Really feels very pulpy. And of course, this being a book in black and white as the original Twilight Zone aired, it just really works. It really puts you in that mood. I think Tom Scioli is a fantastic storyteller, and these issues of the Twilight Zone, this is really centered around confronting your own past, your own trauma, and then also what is real and what isn't, and how different people deal with that, but also our ever wanting search for to find alien life, right? That is one of life's great mysteries. But how will that drive? How will a person's um, want to find this, to make this discovery in the name of science? What are the consequences of that? You get to see some really rad creatures. You get to see some very cool stuff. It's just fantastic comic book storytelling. I am so in love with this series. I'm probably gonna do a video for each one of these issues, and I just do these really because I want to talk about the book. So hopefully people are enjoying this. But yeah, make sure to pick up Twilight Zone number 2 and go back if you haven't already checked out Twilight Zone number 1. I have a video for that on the channel. Yeah, this is great stuff. So before we close out this video, let's take a look at the variant covers. Of course, the main one is by Tom Scioli. Then we have this amazing cover by Jim Rugg. This is the 1:15 ratio cover, which really tells you a lot about. Sometimes the covers don't say a lot about the interior, of this, like they don't relate to the story very much. But this one surely hits the nail right on the head. Then we have the connecting cover by Francesco Francavilla. So if you're one of those people collecting the connecting covers, this is going to be the second piece of that puzzle. And then we are back to our main cover by Scioli. IDW Dark's initiative to bring these horror stories and these more, things that are give you something to think about, give you a little bit of an uneasy feeling in comic books. I think it's very cool. I'm really enjoying it. I love this book. I love other books that are, we're getting the, 30 Days of Night. And also that it has come back. And then, of course, we recently had The Exorcism at 1600 pen, just all under this initiative. So big shout out to everyone working on this. I'm not sure exactly who runs this, but this is, we have the co-editors Ellen Boner and Nicolas Nino. And then, of course, this is inspired by the original TV show. But if they are leading, I don't know if they're just leading this book or they are working on IDW Dark as a whole. But keep an eye out on that. And yeah, make sure to pick this up. So if you have read this book, let me know, what did you think about this? What did you think about the first issue if you've seen it? There's a whole other slew of creators that are going to be part of this 5-issue anthology. And hopefully, if this is successful, we can get some more Twilight Zone books. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Were you one of those kids that watch The Lion King on repeat all the time? Well, have I got a great comic book for you. Let's talk about it in this video. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be talking and doing a review for The Lion King #1 from Dynamite Comics with their partnership with Disney. So Dynamite puts out a lot of these books that are related to Disney properties, including Maleficent. They've done Gargoyles. They do a lot of these books that kind of dive deep into some of the untold stories from these franchises. This is no different. Now, The Lion King is a special book because I love that film. The original animated film, I love it. We used to watch it a lot as kids because when my cousin came over, that's one of the things that he would love to watch. So that was really fun. And yeah, it's just an incredible film. This is written and illustrated by Edwin Gallman, with a story by Edwin Gallman and Nate Cosby, letters by Jeff Eckleberry. We have a main cover here by Edwin Gallman as well. And then we'll see some of the other covers because you guys know Dynamite loves their variant covers. In this book, the Ones and Future Kings get ready to return to the sweeping plains of Africa for a brand new series of adventures starring Mufasa and Simba, which I think is fantastic because we, as much as I love the film, we obviously don't get to spend a lot of time exploring their relationship because this is mostly about Simba returning. The movie itself is mostly about Simba trying to return to his rightful place. This is set in the golden time before the rise of Scar. The Lion King follows the ruler of the Pride Lands and his young heir as they navigate the complex network of relationships that make up their kingdom and learn firsthand how to defend it against the forces that threaten it from both the outside and from within. And the first thing I'll say, I love that. So this book takes place like right after the incident at the elephant graveyard in the movie, if you remember that, when Simba and Nala got into a little bit of trouble with the hyenas. Now, of course, we know those were all machinations by Scar, but like the synopsis read, this really doesn't dive into Scar and any of that, at least not yet. This really more focuses on Mufasa's kind of like everyday life after that incident, and also Simba kind of dealing with the repercussions of that. I think it's a very smart move to give us this relationship, because we need to know how did Mufasa really influence Simba as he was kind of growing up. And I think this book really captures that perfectly. The other thing that I love is when you do an adaptation of something as beloved as The Lion King, and as recognizable as The Lion King, you either have to very much stick to the designs of what the film looked like, which this book does very well, or you have to completely go in the opposite direction. There's no middle ground, I think, at least for me, when it comes to adaptations like this. You can't really have it both ways. So this book chooses to remain very, very faithful to the original designs, which I really appreciate. I think the art looks fantastic. The facial expressions, they recapture that feeling that those animators were able to portray in the original film. And I just love exploring, like I said, what other creatures live in this kingdom in Africa, right? What does Mufasa do? We even get to see a whole bunch of like different, I guess, species kind of trying to get Mufasa's attention because they need something from the king. We get to see Simba and Nala like as they kind of maybe go on a different adventure, and we get to see other creatures that we've never seen, like leopards, that who are kind of a big, I'm not going to say antagonist, but at least a big obstacle that Mufasa is going to have to overcome, at least in this first issue. So yeah, it's really cool to expand the mythology, really cool to explore that. I think the team does such a good job with bringing this into the pages of these comic books. Yeah, I love it. It's great dialogue. It really fits the voices that I remember from the film. Um, and yeah, this issue just they really made me want to go revisit The Lion King, and I might. So stay tuned. We'll keep talking about this. This might be something that I switch over to read as the arcs kind of are completed. But I'm definitely going to my shop and pick up at least one of these covers because they are amazing. And speaking of that, let's go check out the main cover. So this is the cover A by Edwin Gallman, but we have a whole bunch of other covers. This is by Megan Hetrick. This is cover B. So there's no ratio here or anything like that. We have another cover by Jacob Edgar. I'm just gonna assume that a lot of these artists would really love to draw Lion King stuff. We have this kind of like Simba face cover by Julia Lomorno. We have a blank cover, of course, so you can get your own Lion King design. This is the Gallman cover, a metal variant. That's pretty cool. And then a foil cover as well. We have some more foil cover designs, a black and white cover of the main variant of the main cover as well. So it looks like these are okay. So we have, I guess, three main designs for the covers, or three or four main designs, and then the rest are just kind of offshoots of that. So, but hopefully you're excited about The Lion King coming to the pages of Dynamite Comics. I definitely enjoyed this ride. I didn't realize this was happening, but when the preview hit our inbox, I was very much on board. So let's see if we can explore and deepen the bonds between father and son in this book. So let me know if you have read this book. Which cover did you pick up? How many times have you seen this film? And what makes you excited about this book, or what did you think about it? As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Get ready to check out a book that feels like a punch to the face. We're going to be talking about Final Boss in this video. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for Final Boss #1. This is a new book from Image Comics. I'm very excited to talk about this book because if you wanted a comic book that feels like one of the coolest video games that you maybe never got, Final Boss is it. This is written and created and with art by Tyler Kirkham. Also, we have art with Dave Miller, colors by Ifancia and Noor, and letters by Troy Pateri. Uh, what a crazy premise. Let's talk about it. So, of course, you probably know Tyler Kirkham very well from his work in comic books for a long time, but also from his fantastic variant covers. We have a new thrilling action hero. Tommy Brazen is the final boss. Get ready for an over-the-top adventure that is high octane nod to classic action stories, trying to forge a new path. Tommy uses his newfound powers for various paid enforcer gigs and street fights, only to uncover a past far more complex than he ever imagined. Um, I will say this story it unravels with a little bit of a slow burn initially, but then you get to the action and you get to see everything kind of being paid off. Now, Tyler Kirkham has a very distinct style of art, so if you're not into the big violent fights, into these big gigantic splash pages, big sweeping motions like muscles, and you've seen a Tyler Kirkham cover, you've seen the cover that is right next to me, so if that's not your jam, maybe this is not the book for you. But if you enjoy all that stuff, this is going to be right up your alley, right? Our protagonist is not somebody that's nice and clean and squeaky. Like he gets his hands dirty. There's a mystery about him. I really like the design with the mask around him whenever he has to get down to business. But yeah, he's not a good guy, and things get very very bloody. Things get very very violent very fast because that's kind of the name of the business. That's the name of the game when it comes to him. Now we still don't know much about these powers other than they come from his family lineage. So that's going to be something to definitely explore in later issues. But also, I think what Kirkham does really well in this issue is set this up into this kind of video game fashion. This book turns into a video game halfway through, and you're like, oh, this is like playing one of the raddest versions of Mortal Kombat. So, like I said, I don't know that this book is going to be for everyone, but for people that do enjoy that kind of stuff, that is just like big bombastic fights, violence, just like these really cool rat designs, blood flying everywhere, big noises, like just, and there are some pages here that I can't wait to see in the printed edition, because obviously when I'm reading them in the digital, you don't really you don't get the full impact of a lot of these splash pages. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. I think it's gonna be a really fun read, especially when it comes to the collection. But I always check out a first issue to see how it's gonna fit into my reading schedule. I recommend this. I think that it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be weird and bombastic and violent, and that's something that sometimes I want to check out. Now, this book has a lot of variant covers, so let's take a look at all that stuff before we close out this video. So this is the main cover by Tyler Kirkham. We next have a V. Ken Marion cover with characters that you may not have even met in this first issue. So that's really interesting. We also have this Ryan Oddly incredibly violent cover. We have a 1 in 25 blood variant from the original cover. We have this Tyler Kirkham action figure variant as well, which this does feel like somebody just kind of playing with their toys in the most, in the most bombastic way. We have this really cool Jay Lee variant. This is a 1 in 100 foil, so maybe there's another one that's just the regular cover with the trade dress. This is a 1 in 25 Jay Lee as well. We have this really cool 1 in 500 Remark style cover. Then we also have a Youngblood team up because, of course, it is Youngblood month over at Image Comics. And then the black and white Youngblood. And then Josh C. Lyman doing another foil variant for this. And then also a regular cover for this. Let's see, and then we are back to our main cover by Tyler Kirkham. So yeah, I'm interested to see what my shops are gonna get for this, and then also to see where the story goes from here. So like I said, if you like big bombastic loud comic books, I think this is right up your alley. It is very reminiscent of like Image in the 90s. when everything was just like very cool, very extreme, very action oriented. But this still gives you a little bit of a storyline through follow through. Gives you some character that start to feel very complicated, right? They're not very straightforward characters. So and we'll see if the team can kind of build on that going forward as well. So if you have checked this out, let me know what you thought about Final Boss down in the comments. Also, if you want to hear me talk about more 90s image comic book stuff with my co-hosts, go check out our last live where we talk about a big old debate between Peter David and Image Comics co-founder Todd McFarlane from back in 1993. And then maybe we can settle the debate as to is who's leading the horse? Is it the artist or the writer? In which, in this case, Tyler Kirkham is both in this book. So, as always, thank you for watching and stay tuned. We have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.